Welcome back to another Monster Hunter discussion video, hunters. With every new update of Monster Hunter Rise, we keep getting towards the end of the Monster Hunter Rise cycle. And once again, we can't help but wonder how the new Monster Hunter game is going to be, especially how the graphics are going to be like. After seeing the newly Monster Hunter-like game from Koei Tecmo, Wild Hearts, I said it does look very impressive, both in terms of graphics and gameplay. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the gameplay that I really want to be included in the next Monster Hunter games, not only including some of the mechanics from old Monster Hunter games, including Frontier, mind you, but also some mechanics that I think would be pretty interesting with how much the series have evolved over the years. And make sure to let me know and everyone else in the comment section if you have any mechanics that you would like to see in the next Monster Hunter game. And hopefully maybe the devs might be listening to us. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
Number 1. Monsters using the environment or the terrain of the area. As you guys might have noticed, some monsters are already utilizing this by mounting the wall, much like what Tobikadachi and Grid Izuchi in Monster Hunter Rise does. Which I think is a pretty cool because it allows the monster to get away from the hunters even just for a moment. Well, before we start to flash the heck out of that monster and bring it back down. But I think if monster have some kind of moves that allows it to get away from us even just for a moment without moving to a different area, I think that will make the monster to have a little bit more power compared to a very overpowered hunters lately. Players have so many advantages during hunting, but not just crazy mobility from Wirebug, but also all kinds of help from the endemic life. I think it will also be cool if the monsters are also able to utilize the endemic life against us. Maybe throwing the sleeping toad towards us, maybe even have some kind of interaction with other small monsters or smaller monsters than it, just like what Devil Joe did to Great Jagras back in Monster Hunter World. Also, it would be cool if monsters have some features that allows it to interact with the environment more, just like, for example, maybe a monster can bite into a tree and start using that as an obstacle against us. Basically, make the monster to be a bit smarter. Once again, it kind of shows that the environment and the monster have some kind of symbiosis, which also enriches the world immersion, in my opinion. Well, not everyone is looking for that, but I, for one, would like to see this kind of Monster Hunter. Number 2. Monster relationships. It had some ties with the previous point, but essentially it's like a monster hierarchy that leads to more bond attacks, just like Teostra and Lunastra, or small monster united to fight against bigger monsters, or big monster or elder dragon commands smaller monster to attack us, maybe like a Ragnakadaki or Guanzoromu from Monster Hunter Frontier. This is one thing that I really want to see more from Monster Hunter moving forward, to be surprised at how monsters interact with each other. I remember the first time I saw Turf War, and my mind was blown away on how cool to see this monster interact with each other, and kind of show the monster hierarchy by showing who wins the Turf War. Pretty sure I'm not the only person that feels that way when they saw Turf War for the first time. Well, at least my brother had the same reaction as I did. Now we have seen that monsters can antagonize each other, I'd like to see some more monsters that actually have friendly relationship with each other and actively working to defeat us. As we have seen from Teostra in Lunastra, Shrieking Legiana, Calling Legiana, which many people actually hates, or even the one from Frontier, the Gorgath duo, and the Orogaron duo, that tends to stick together most of the times. And of course, another thing that will be interesting to see if monsters that lead a pack, much like the Jagras, will be able to hold their grounds when fighting a bigger monster, or even make the hunter be in a tough spot by working together. So basically, I want to see more monster relationship or monster interactions for the next Monster Hunter game. And moving to number 3, this is something that I think that everyone cannot go without once they have experienced Monster Hunter Rise. The movement akin to wirebug and weapon moveset customization. As I said, I think without a doubt, the majority of the people love the mobility provided by the wirebugs, and having to play Monster Hunter without some flexible mobility for existing players might feel a little bit strange or off, except for those who never actually play Rise or new players. So some kind of mobility tools, even if it's not as good as Wirebug, is a must-add to the game. Maybe you can have some kind of Palamute combo attack that allows you for a little bit more mobilities. But we shall see what Capcom will do with their much-loved Wirebug mobility that they have provided us in Monster Hunter Rise. I also have realized having a customizable moveset also adds so much on your playstyle, and I think customizable moveset outside the skill switch will be crazy fun addition, given that they're properly balanced. As it means that you can play the games in so many different ways, and if you get bored, you can just switch your playstyle a little bit on top of having so many weapon options already. Number 4, this is more like my personal ones, which is the catching endemic life and room customization option that Monster Hunter World has. As I've said before, this is a rather personal favorite feature of mine from Monster Hunter World because I like to spend some time after hunting back to back just by customizing my rooms and putting all kinds of decorations and endemic life around the room. And just listening to the music and maybe even step away for a bit to prepare food and etc. while taking a break from a tiring hunt. For many people, this might not be a big thing since they just want to hunt and craft awesome gear. But I think the feature of capturing endemic life can be made into an incentive by either giving rewards in terms of gear or layered gear if they manage to capture a certain amount of specific endemic life or catching a rare endemic life. Once again, I just want to see Monster Hunter to be more than just all about boss fights, which once again, I would say that most people will not agree with me. Number 5, causing Blight with elemental weapons and or craftable items. The new addition of mechanics of inflicting elemental blight to the enemies have been a very welcome addition to the game in my opinion, as it allows a wider option on how you should tackle a fight with a monster. But unfortunately though, it is currently quite hard to trigger on the monster due to the fact that you need a specific endemic life or to have your palicos trigger their endemic life barrage skill. I just want to say, I could be wrong, but I believe that the devs are currently testing the waters for this mechanic, hence why they're limited on how this can be inflicted to a monster, to see if they're completely broken or nobody actually bothered to inflict any of those elemental blights. I strongly believe that elemental blight affliction to monsters should be added to elemental weapons, but make it very difficult to trigger unless it passes a certain threshold or damage check, perhaps to make it less broken. Or if not, make it so that the blights can be triggered by craftable items. But to not remove the usage of endemic life, maybe make the weapon version to be less powerful than using the endemic life, much how you use a poison toad and poison weapon. Well, if anything else, I do hope that the newcomers to the next games are not too overwhelmed with too many elements if they end up making this to be as prominent as status element weapons. But do let me know what you guys think about elemental blights overall for Monster Hunter Rise. Number 6, the Alpha and Beta armor set. This is another feature I love so much from Monster Hunter World since as a hunter I like to look cool while having a viable build, hence why I have the Fashion Hunter series made in my channel. Do check it out if you have time, and it will help me a lot and keep making Fashion Hunter videos. Anyway, having armors divided into Alpha and Beta means a lot more work for the devs to design more armor for sure, but as a player to have more fashion options is always a very plus point in my opinion. I do understand that probably the reason why we have Alpha and Beta armor is because the decoration in Monster Hunter World were randomly obtained. Well, that is not the case for Monster Hunter Rise. With the Rise system, most probably people will keep going for the Beta armor sets due to it having more decoration slots if this system was implemented in Monster Hunter Rise. I understand that balancing the beta and armor sets won't be easy for sure for the devs, but the only idea that I have on top of my head at the moment is that one have more slots while the others have more exclusive skills, much like the soul skills, such as the Camelus Soul, Valstrax Soul, Steelstar Soul, and etc. So the player will either have to give up the exclusive skill or give up more slots decoration for more customization. But then again, coming up with a unique skill is not easy, especially doing that for all the monsters. And last but not least for this video, Siege Battle. Having some kind of Siege Battle, the closest that we have recently is Safijiva fight, or maybe even Kulf Taroth to a certain extent, with how many parties within one lobby keeps hunting it until it is finally be slayed. Assuming the next Monster Hunter game will be next-gen exclusive along with the usage of RE engine, we have no idea what it's capable of at the moment. Will it be able to break the 4 players limitation without having too much technical issue? Will it be able to carry out a raid with a few different parties perhaps, fighting a gigantic monster much like Laviente from Frontier? So every time I think about the next Monster Hunter game, I can't help but wonder what kind of crazy Monster Hunter game that we're getting, especially with how Capcom has delivered but nothing high quality of games in the past few years. But yeah, as I've ranted in my previous videos, I would like to see some more gigantic monster hunts, because I really miss those. And hopefully a raid kind of like system in the next Monster Hunter game will be a very interesting thing to see. And that's it for the mechanics that I want to have for the next Monster Hunter game. Should I have more ideas, I will make a follow-up video discussing those ideas. As for you, dear hunters, what mechanics would you like to be featured in the next Monster Hunter game? Do let everyone know in the comment section, and maybe we get to see some very groundbreaking ideas. As always, if you think that this video is useful or helpful in some ways, do leave a like and consider to subscribe to my channel, as it will help me in keep making content much like this discussion video. But of course, subscribing is free. Until the next video, happy hunting and stay sharp, hunters.
Thanks for watching. Bye. Please subscribe, guys.
The legend will never die.